Hey everyone, I'm here with a quick video on Diddy. Diddy has left New York City and has crossed the bridge over to New Jersey. He wanted to go to Fort Dix, FCI, to do his I think is what, 2.5 year sentence. And you can ask to go there, but that doesn't mean you're going to be granted that request. But it seems like they did finally grant him his request. So he's off. He's already in Fort Dix. They said they transfer him early this morning, and so he has started serving his time in Fort Dix. And lucky for him, because they have programs there in which he can engage, for rehab, it can shorten his sentence if he engages in these programs and does well. Let me share a screen so we can get more into the story. So Diddy, bad boy, begins Fort Dix prison sentence. So Sean Diddy Combs is all checked in at his new home for his next 2.5 years. TMZ has learned he begins serving his federal prison sentence. Law enforcement sources tell us Diddy was transferred to FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey early Thursday morning and began the check-in process. Remember, this is the prison he requested to serve his time at after Judge Iran Summarian sentenced him to 50 months in prison. The Federal Bureau of Prisons ultimately granted Diddy's request. The Mobile's legal team said Fort Dix is the best landing spot for Diddy because there he will be able to address drug abuse issues and maximize family visitation and rehabilitative efforts. Diddy has been at the infamous Brooklyn MDC since September 2024, when he was arrested and held without bail, pending his criminal trial. And there's no doubt he'll be living in much better conditions now that he's at Fort Dix. The federal prisons is low security, but Diddy's longtime lawyer, Mark Garagos, previously told Harvey on Two Angry Men podcast that Diddy will have a target on his back wherever he ends up. And concerns about, SA and other violent assaults are real. In fact, Diddy got a taste of possible violence behind bars. His team revealed at his sentencing hearing someone already planned to shank him, and his close friend claimed Diddy woke up to a knife pressed against his neck. Diddy's getting a change of scenery after spending over a year at MDC, and the Bureau of Prisons is projecting his release date on May 8th, 2028, though it's not set in stone. And it's not set in stone because of the simple fact that he has an opportunity to participate in these programs, and if he does well, he will have the opportunity to cut some time off of his. Let me just lower that. We'll take a listen back to when Mark Garagos pretty much, describe the typical things, unfortunately, that many prisoners.
Are you concerned that Sean Diddy Combs could be sexually assaulted, violently assaulted? Is that a thing? Because based on what was said in court, it feels like a thing.
Yeah, it clearly is a thing. I mean, they're already, and he did not want to make a big deal of it. They already tried to shank him once at the MDC, and that was thwarted. And it happens in prison. I mean, you and I could tick off how many times we are aware of somebody getting seriously injured or killed in prison. And so they're going to have to keep him somewhere that they can keep an eye on him. It would have obviously been better if he had gotten less time and had been at a camp, but he's going to be in a facility where somebody's going to have to, from the BOP, and I think they're well equipped to do it if they can, to keep an eye on him because he is a target.
So let's say he is sent to a minimum security prison. Is he out of the woods when it comes to that kind of assault?
If you're going, you and I talked about Ghislaine Maxwell, who went from the one place in Florida, which was a higher level, not a camp. And she was transferred after she did the interview with the couple-day interview. She was transferred to what they call a camp in Texas, which I'm familiar with. I've had other clients in. So a camp is generally one of the better places to be. And the reason for that is because a camp is basically you get certain privileges. And if you step off of the line, so to speak, if you violate, if you do anything that is not according to Hoyle, they will immediately send you someplace a lot more onerous. So that's why I say, in the long-winded answer to your question, yes, you've got to get designated somebody. You know, I know he wants to be New York adjacent. If I'm Sean right now, I'm going to be angling for someplace like Lompoc satellite camp or something along those lines.
But that still doesn't answer. Is he out of the woods when it comes to being sexually or in any way assaulted by being in a minimum security prison?
Look, it's a prison. Anywhere you go is a prison. You always have to watch your back, literally. And if that's the case, you're never really out of the woods until you're released, or you go to a halfway house, or you get into one of the programs. But if you are in a camp or in a low level designation, your odds go down dramatically.
Well, listen, he's now at the place where he's going to serve his time. I don't like, I know of the Metropolitan Detention Center out there in Brooklyn, and if you can look up these stories during COVID, a lot of those prisoners were taking their own lives because they was rather not to be alive versus suffering the conditions they were suffering at MDC at that time. People have called it hell on earth. And from everything I heard about, previous prisoners that was there and maybe not on the floor or the area where Diddy was being housed and where this Luigi is being housed, because he's also out there in the Metropolitan Detention Center, where many other prisoners said it's just horrific there. Horrific. Excuse me. Listen, guys. Chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for watching. Diddy is now officially in New Jersey, Fort Dix. I hope it all goes well for him, and I hope whether they shorten his time or whenever he gets out, I pray to God that he turns a whole 360 and really turns his life around. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button. I'll see you on the next video.